Hey everybody. Today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the second part of this Sumerian math conversation. As you guys know, yesterday we took a look at the base 60 and kind of the hands and how they worked as a calculator, and even the moon phases that eventually kind of modernized into our calendars these days. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to use this base 60 format to actually write out some numbers specifically. Okay. Now I'm going to move myself over into this corner for this so we have a little space to work. But what you all are going to have on the page that is attached to this, which I'll show you here in a second, is you're going to have this kind of key up here, this little cheat sheet for what they stand for. And then you're going to try to use these images to create the numbers that I've given you here. Okay. And we're going to talk about what some of these mean or how you're going to break them down. Okay. So, first of all, let's talk about what they represent. If you guys notice, we said this is a base 60 system. So you can tell that in a lot of these cases, minus 1 and 10, that they are some derivative of 60. So 60 or 600 or 3600 or 36,000, okay, which is 60 times 60 and 60 times 600. So obviously they came up with this numbering system somehow, some way. Okay, now, if you notice, you have a couple images here. I'm going to drag them up. So you have the little cup looking thing that equals 1. You have a small circle that equals 10. You have what looks to be kind of the bigger cup, which equals 60. You have one of these, what looks like a cup and a circle in it, which is worth 600. And then you have the single circle, which is 3,600, and the double circle, which is 36,000. Okay, so unlike a 10 system or Roman numerals, there are some pretty random digits up here, but they go with these kind of coinciding images. All right. So first thing, how these numbers work is it's pretty much the biggest number you can come up with, and then plus however much more you need. Okay, so to give you an example, I'll move these out of the way. But for example, if you were going to do a number like, let's say, 15, you would start with a 10, and then you would have to add 5 of these little cups. So it'd be like 10 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so let me go ahead and grab 2 more of these. But this is an example of how 15 would look because you have your 10 plus 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, so obviously it's pretty time consuming and you can really get confused here if you don't pay attention, but that's how this works. Okay. And we'll do a couple more here. I'll just move all these guys down here. But basically, when you get into bigger numbers, that's when you get some issues that are going to happen. Okay, so for example, you notice that there's a lot of big gaps, especially between, let's say, 60 and 600, and 600 and 3,600, and so on and so forth, right? So you have some big gaps. You might have to add a lot of these images. Okay, so for example, if you wanted a number like, let's say, 700, I have to add the biggest piece first, which would be the 600. And then you would add 60. So that would be like 660. And then it'd be 70, 80, 90, and then 700. See, if you add all this up together, you have 660, 70, 80, 90, 700. Okay, so again, it really is like adding them all together because it's like 600 plus 60 plus 40. Okay, so we can do a bunch of numerous examples here, but I'm just going to let you all kind of start getting into the work here that goes with it. And what I did over on the side, as you can see kind of in the top right corner here, is I just copied and pasted the one part of the activity that you guys are going to do. Okay, so the biggest part of what you all are going to do is you're going to try to take these numbers and put them into this Sumerian math format. Okay, so for example, 11 would just be 11, right? Like 10 plus 1. So you would have whatever 10 plus 1 would be as your image. 107, same thing. It's like I got to figure out 100, and then I got to figure out 7. 670, I got to figure out 600, and then what would be 70, and so on and so forth. Okay, So these are pretty straightforward. You just have to look at your possibilities and start with your biggest possibility first and then start breaking it down. Okay, now the ones that have to do with you specifically, like the current time that you're going to be working on this, your address, your birthday, your phone number, I'm going to talk about those right now really quick. Okay. So, for example, the current time that you're working on this, the current time you're working on this, I don't want it to necessarily be the big number. Okay. I don't want it to be like if you're working on this at 9 o'clock in the morning, I don't want you to equal, 900 of these things out. I just want you to split the number in two, and you can even put a colon in between. Okay. So if you're working on this thing at, let's say, 8:15, what you can do is break that up just to an 8 and then a 15. Okay. Unlike Roman numerals, where I know some of you guys that know a little bit about Roman numerals, you pick a big number and then you can almost subtract two things. For something like an 8:15, for the number 8, you would literally have 8 little cups over here. And then for the 15, you can do a 10 plus 5 little cups like we did before. Okay, so you don't have to treat 815 as 815. Let's just treat it as like this number is split, whatever number's over here and whatever number's over here. So even if you're working on it at 11:37 in the afternoon, you can do 11 and figure out what that would be in these symbols, and then 37. Okay, your address. Now that depends on your address, but that one I definitely want you to treat as the whole number, the full number. Okay, so if your address is like 372 Breckenridge Lane, you want to treat that as 372. Okay, you don't want to break it down into 3 and then 7 and then 2. Okay, even if your address number, like mine, is like 5 digits long. Okay, even if your address is like 10235, you got to treat it as the larger number. Okay, so that's the address part. Now your birthday is a little easier as well. Okay, and if I can grab this, I'm just going to drag this out. How we're going to break this one down is number, 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 right? So like month, day, year. So for example, if you were born like July 22nd, you would use the number 7, and you can break that up. Obviously, you would just have one of these number, or sorry, 7 of these little cups. And if your day of birth was, let's say, the 21st, you would have 2 circles and a little cup. And then the year that you were born, I do want to treat that as the big number. Okay, so 2000, whatever year you were born, we want to treat that as the full number. Now you can put a slash in it like this. So you can have, again, if it's July, you could put your 7 slash whatever your 21 slash 2000, whatever. Okay, so that's how you break down your birthday. And the last one here is phone number. Okay, and we're going to break that one down pretty easily as well. Let me put this guy back. Okay, so for phone number, I put number dash number. Right? That's not a minus, that's a hyphen in this case. We don't need the area code. We don't need 502. But I want to split this into two numbers, a 3-digit and a 4-digit. So if your phone number was like 502-367-1041, then treat that as 367 and 1041. Okay, the biggest thing I can tell you all for this, especially these 4-digit numbers, is it needs to be whatever the 4-digit number is in full. You don't want to break it down digit by digit. So if your last 4 digits were like 7276, you don't want it to be 7 and then 2 and then 7 and then 6. You want it to be a 7,000 number. Okay, so that's the easiest way I can explain it. Let me jump over here real quick to show you all the actual assignment and what it looks like. Okay, so I'll get out of here real quick, and then I'm going to come over to the actual document, which is right here. Okay, and as you guys can see, I went ahead on this document and I put the little key at the top still. And if you notice, these are the numbers that we just talked about, like how you're going to build them. And then these are the ones that we said are kind of a double or even sometimes a triple number. The only part that we did not discuss right here is your concluding question. So the concluding question is, what are the obvious setbacks, let's call them problems, of using this number system in daily life? So if you were trying to use this number system that's at the top here in your daily life for different things that you had to use math for or numbers for, what would be difficult about it? Okay, so that can clearly be answered in about a sentence or two down in the conclusion area here at the bottom. Okay, so once again, as far as the actual work, if you need extra space, like extra scratch paper, or you want to do it on a separate sheet, feel free. You all obviously, like any math, this is going to take some probably erasing or really thinking about it. So don't get frustrated because clearly it is time consuming and it's kind of tricky to figure out which of these you need to start with depending on the number that you're trying to build. Okay, so as it's noted in the Google Classroom over here, right with the announcement, I want you in any format that you can get it to share it with me, submit it to me, email it to me, and the email is obviously linked with the announcement as always. Okay. And like we've seen before, if you guys are really jammed up on a specific number or how am I supposed to make this number out of these images, just shoot me an email and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. All right. So as always, I hope you all are staying well and being healthy out there, and we will talk to you very soon. So good luck with this. All right. Bye.